On all, this is basically a presentation on the overview of NAAC that Kaziranga University is going to apply. So before that we need to know that what is NAAC basically. NAAC is the National Accreditation and Assessment Council, which is established in 1994 to give the accreditation to different institutes and universities and higher educational institutes in India, and it's a quality benchmark in India, and sometimes in some of the foreign universities also recognize the NAAC accreditation for the students' admission purpose also. Whether these students of India has passed from a NAAC accredited institutes or not, and what are the direct and indirect benefits of getting the accreditation. First of all, the university comes to know that what are their strength, weakness, opportunities and challenges after the evaluation process, so that they can determine the next 5 years goal or the next 10 years goal if they go in the same process. And the NAAC peer committee also gives some suggestion based on their entire review during the NAAC visit, during the exit meeting the last day, that institute is now stands in this position. Now what should be done by these institutes to move ahead in the next few years. And already I told that it's the quality benchmark, that sometimes if I want to apply for a grant, in that case I have to give them whether the university is NAAC accredited or not. That case I will get some grants. It is not like that if it is not NAAC accredited I am not going to get the grant, but their chances is very limited. You have to be extraordinary in your domain to get the research grants. And in case of NBO also, whether you are NAAC accredited, whether you filled up the AISHE in this year, what is your AISHE ID, so everything you have to give. And not only that, if any faculty apply for any post further, that case their experience will also be counted during their APA score, whether they have the particular faculty has the experience in an NAAC accredited institutes or university or not. And that gives the institutes a new sense of direction and identity also. And the stakeholders, it also gives the stakeholders some reliable information. So if the parents, why the parents will give the admission to this university, everybody will say my university is best. So if they find out that it's a NAAC accredited university, that case definitely it will be good. And the similar case also true for the recruiter also. Recruiter sees that whether the students is passed out from NAAC accredited institute or university or not. So these are the benefits of getting the accreditation. And NAAC gives the accreditation based on 7 criteria, and each of the criteria has some marks, and the total marks is 1000. The criteria 1 is curricular aspect, criteria 2 teaching, learning and evaluation, criteria 3 research, consultancy and extension, criteria 4 infrastructure and learning resources, criteria 5 student support and progression, criteria 6 government leadership and management, criteria 7 innovation and best practices. And these are the number distributions for these 7 criteria, and this varies from university to autonomous colleges to affiliated to constituent colleges. Like in the colleges under some universities, they have the teaching, learning, evaluation the highest weightage of 350 marks, whereas we have for an university like us the maximum weightage is giving on research, consultancy and extension. So this marks distribution weightage wise is given in this pie chart. So 25% weightage is given in research consultancy, 20% is given on teaching, learning and evaluation, and 15% is given on student support and progression, and 10% each to the other 4 criteria. Now in curricular aspects also, in 100 marks is divided into 4 sub criteria, like curricular planning and implementation, academic flexibility, curricular enrichment and feedback systems. So in curriculum planning and implementation, that during designing this curriculum planning, we have to keep it in this mind that whether whatever curriculum we are delivering, or we are preparing, whether it should be effective for our university, because the curriculum may not be same for us as that of IIT, because they have their own infrastructure, they have their own student strength, students quality, teachers quality. Based on that, they set their curricular, and they have their own mission and vision. We have to set our curricular based on our mission and vision, based on our infrastructure, based on our socio-economic environment of the area, and also the quality of the students. We have to design the curriculum in such a manner that the best possible way we can deliver it to the student to get the maximum outcome which will suit our mission and vision. And also how many core and elective options we are giving, and these core and elective options are given after discussing with the industry or not. And whether we are providing the choice-based credit systems or not, that also carries some extra marks. And this one is not applicable for our self-financing programs, because all our programs are self-financing. Apart from this, are we running any skill development programs? And these are some traditional things that we have to keep in this criteria of curricular aspects. Apart from this, if you want to get extra marks, that case we can put some innovative curriculum implementation process like blended learning. Blended learning is basically mixed learning things. Bloom's taxonomy has defined 5 or 6 types of curricula designing techniques. Out of this, you can choose 2 or 3 and mix them and create one blended learning. It may be some few portions of your curriculum will be delivered through digital media, audiovisual techniques, and few of them through chalk and talk, and few of them maybe through role play kind of things. So it's a blended learning kind of things. And if you come up with some innovative types of curricular aspects that we have done in our previous institutes during the NAAC visit, we have implemented the flipped learning technique. Flipped learning technique is basically what we have done. We have removed all the benches from the classrooms. We have created instead of this 10 to 15 tables we put over there, and each of the tables have some group of students, 5 or 6, and we will start one video lectures, and after 10 or 15 minutes we will give them 10 to 15 minutes of time. They will discuss among them what they have learned, and based on this they will raise their questions, what they understood and what are the area of concern, and the teacher will explain all those things. And after that, we get the feedback from the students that which process is best, through traditional chalk and talk process or through this blended flipped learning technique. So when we demonstrated live to the NAAC PR team, they appreciated it and they gave some extra marks to us. So these types of things based on our available infrastructure and resources, if we can implement and show it to them, we may come up with some extra marks. That's it. And the curriculum enrichment, that means the curriculum is sufficient enough to make to graduates to employable and the multidisciplinary, whether in our curriculum we are taken care of those multidisciplinary issues or not. Next criteria is very important, that is teaching, learning and evaluation process. Most of the time they give most of the emphasis on this process. Its sub-criteria are students' enrollment and profile, catering to diverse needs of the students, teaching learning process, teacher quality, evaluation process and reforms, student performance and learning outcomes. So first of all, we have to show in those criteria so that what are the admission policies, and whether there is any transparency, what type of transparency we maintain, and appointment policy for the faculty and the processes. And these 2 criteria should be accompanied by a clear flow chart so that they can understand the whole process. And do you have any comprehensive academic calendar, and promotion of learner-centric teaching and learning, whether we are adopting some learner-centric teaching learning process or not. And do you have any planned faculty development and internship program? That means continuous development of faculty is done regularly or not. and ensure the faculty and accountability. Means that going to the classrooms and deliver to the students is not the only thing that faculty is the only thing that is expected from a faculty. If the faculty is giving time beyond the class hours to the students, and he is accountable for all the students overall development or not. And performance monitoring and appraisal for the faculty, and objective and efficient student evaluation of teachers. Follow up the professional code of conduct, ensure transparent and efficient objective based examination systems. That means the questions we are providing, that means 10 marks objective and then 15 marks questions, and okay, it's fine. That 10 marks objective is satisfying what type of criteria, whether I am finding out students skills is getting evaluated, or the other things that we have to mention clearly. And we have to ensure that each of the department defines the learning outcomes of programs and monitor the outcomes of the department is whatever learning outcomes and program outcomes they have defined, whether they are maintaining and whether evaluating these learning outcomes each after the end of each semesters or not. So at the end of the each semesters, each of the departments have to make one academic audit for this one, and that academic audit is not only the department infrastructures, it will comprise of students academic involvement, results analysis, everything, attendance, everything. And it also consists of the students diversity and inclusion also, how many students are coming from this state, how many students are coming outside these states, state-wise distribution, and the country-wise distributions also, whether the students are encouraged for collaborative and independent learning, whether they are discussing among themselves for the collaborative learning, and whether is there any procedural measurement we have taken or not. And nurturing generic competencies, that means they are competent in their own subjects. It is not like that, they should be competent to solve any socio-economic problems also. So how it can be judged, whether they are participating in the hackathon type of projects, where the different socio-economic problems, real-time problems are given by the different government agencies, and whether students are participating over there and submitting their proposal or not. And how effectively we are using the technologies for the student teaching, learning and evaluation process, and whether we have sufficient number of qualified senior faculties in the emerging areas or not. Now next is the criteria 3. Unfortunately in this area they have given the most emphasis for the universities, that is 250 marks. So promotion of research, for research promotion, how the university is taking the steps, resource mobilization for research, how many items are getting procured in each year, how many requirement is given, so these things, and the research facilities, how existing research facilities, and what are the, and whether these research facilities are being upgraded every year or not, and the faculties are applying for the research projects, how many research projects they got. So everything is being taken care of, and the research publication and awards, consultancy extension activities, institutional social responsibility, whether institute is being concerned for the localized areas, the socio-economic problems, and whether the students are coming up with any solutions, they are implementing it or not, and if for the funding to develop or deploy these types of problems, whether they are applying to the government regularly or not, and collaborations, how many collaborations are being done. So this has been discussed right now. If you have any questions. and the publications. And nowadays what they are doing, that they are not seeing those papers, first page of the papers, because it is very difficult to find out the quality of the papers. What they are doing, that they are going to the Scopus and typing the name of Kaziranga University, and then find out that how many papers are indexed in the name of Kaziranga University. So if I hire a faculty which has more than 150 papers, but most of the papers have been published in some other universities, that are not be going to get counted. So these times, that is why in NRF ranking, so we lose most of the points, and they have started this practice from this year only. And criteria 4 is infrastructure and learning resources. How much physical infrastructure we have. Most of the points we can get from this area, but only 100. Library as learning resources, IT infrastructure, maintenance of campus and other facilities. Now whether we are planning and making the optimal utilization. Planning means for the infrastructure, whether we are putting any requirement year wise, what are the non-recurring infrastructure, the recurring infrastructure we are putting through the budget, and how much budget has been approved, and the requirement is placed in a proper way, and whether the transparency entire proper transparent procedure is being maintained or not, and whether utilizing those research whatever infrastructure is given to us, whether utilizing it optimally or not. So that resource utilization we also have to show. That means if they find out that some of the equipments which have been procured for 3 years back and they are not being used, they are not functioning, that case they will check that whether the appropriate measure has been taken or not. It is not like that we are procuring the resources and they are not being used for the long time, so there is no being used, and from that any research paper is being published or any patent is being done, or the students are utilizing and developing some products or not, everything will be taken care of. And the facilities for the students and staff, what are the facilities we are putting for the students and staff? Adequate and well equipped physical facilities for curricular extracurricular activities. So that case I think we have the best practices we are following here. We have 5 clubs are there, and all the clubs are being active, and every month they are coming up with 2 or 3 activities. And library e-resources are there or not, IT infrastructure are there, how much IT infrastructures we have, and maintenance of the campus, whether we are taking the green measurement and initiatives during the maintenance of the campus, how the waste management is being done, e-waste management is being done, everything will be taken care of, and they will give the points. And online learning resources. And whether we have the dynamic institutional websites or not. The thumb rule is that 50% of the pages should be dynamic, 50% static. So they will check everything, and multimedia and virtual classrooms are there or not, and full-fledged ICT and digital connectivity of the language and the business labs. And library space, books, journals, periodicals, open access internet, digital and e-library and monitoring and use. And provide for utilities, uninterrupted electricity and drinking water. So these are all the infrastructures that we need. Next is the student support and progression. For students overall progressions, what type of support we are mainly the mentoring systems, they take they look into it, how meticulously you are doing this mentoring process. So counseling services, whether the counseling services are being conducted regularly or not, whether we are giving care to each of the students individually. So what is the measurement procedures, that if the students is not coming to the classes, that case we are calling to their students, and then calling to their parents, call the parents, and then we take appropriate measurements and we counsel them, so that we can get back to the normal track and everything. And sensitivity toward issues of social justice, including gender, class and caste. And yeah, if any students have any issue with the social justice gender and class, and for each of the and anti-ragging, prevention and sexual harassment, each of them we should have some separate committees, and that committee have to be approved by the academic council, and then it should be uploaded in the website. In the website it should be clearly mentioned that how many statutory and non-statutory committee we have, and when this committee is being formed, and what is the validity of this committee. And it is not like that this committee is running for the next last 3 years, so it is not like that. Committee members should be rotated each and every year, and all the faculties should be involved, all the faculties as well as the students also actively in this committee, in those committees. And career guidance and the placement services, we are providing through the CDBC cell, and CDBC cell have to maintain all the records, and facilitating educational loan for how many banks, how many tie-ups we have with the banks, and these types of things. And student representation on decision making bodies, that means how many committee students participation is also there. This is also very important. And gender sensitization, that we have discussed. Monitoring drop on the drop of students, also discussed. Training center for competitive exam or IT literacy, that means whether we are running any tutorial classes or the capsule courses to bridge the gap between the students earlier knowledge and to cope up with the current courses, and whether we are providing any support for net coaching or GET coaching like this. And it is also very much important that how many out of this last year how many students have appeared for GET, and how many students passed, cracked the GET, and how many students this year, whether there is any progression. If the progression is there, you are definitely going to get some marks. And whether students are being aware about the different informations if they want to pursue higher studies in India or abroad, whether we are conducting regular seminars or workshops or not, whether we are providing the informations to the students regularly or not, and if we are trying to push the students to pursue higher studies through our personal contacts or not, these types of things we have to provide. And promotion of NSS and NCC sports games, for each of them we have to provide, keep separate files. And leadership development programs, this is actually for the faculty, not for the students. And effective grievance redressal, and if the grievance we have the grievance redressal box, whether they whether how many applications comes out, and how many are taken care of, and how many are being addressed, and appropriate measurement is being taken or not, these types of things. Actually they only see some papers, but they don't medically ask anything regarding this, I have not seen. And provide for the remedial programs for those at risk of failure. And strengthening alumni interface. We have to strengthen the alumni body. We don't have any alumni association. We have to keep the record, and who are the member of this alumni association, who is the president of this alumni association, how the fund is being generated from the alumni association, how many types of governing body meeting, general governing council meeting of this alumni association has been done, and how many activities have been done by the alumni association, how they are helping our students for getting placements or being placed for the internship. So everything will be taken care of. Build bridge with the parents, past and present. So we have to regularly conduct a parent teachers meeting also to know what are the expectations from the parents, and what is the students current situation, and how can we meet the expectation of the parents in the best possible way. And government leadership and the management, this is from the management side, what is the institution mission, vision and leadership, strategy for development and deployment, faculty empowerment strategy for empowering the faculties, what type of measurements they are taking, financial management and resource mobilization, So how the financial management is being done, whether the audit is being done every year or not, an internal quality assurance system. So there should be an IQAC cell, internal quality assurance cells with immediate effect, and they have to submit the reports each year to the UGC. So what is the long term and short term planning for the efficient governance for this university, and leadership development for the senior faculty, whether we are conducting any leadership development program for the senior faculty or not. Like in our previous institute, we have a collaboration with IIM Kashipur. We will send the faculties who have served this institute for 5 years. They will be sent to for this leadership development program to IIM Kashipur, and institute is bearing the entire expenditure for this one. And what is the quality policy and analysis of the students' feedback, how to improve the teaching learning process from the student feedback process, and the performance appraisal of the teachers, and the performance appraisal reports of the teachers have to be kept in record, and professional leadership development of the faculty, same thing. And how the management interface is being done, whether the responsibilities has been assigned to the faculties in a decentralized manner or centralized manner, and agenda deliberation of minutes of the meetings and action taken report of each of the meetings, and the grooming of second line of leadership, evolving strategic plan for achieving vision and mission, prospective plan for future development based on SWOC. Management information systems, facilitating academic and administrative audit, accreditation and follow-up, legal matters, grievance committee and tribunal and court, and budgeting, fund flow, utilization, ensuring transparent, providing bookkeeping and accounts, monitoring bank accounts, deposits and reconciliation. Computerization of accounting, budgetary controls, internal statutory and government audit, and resource planning and mobilization, creating Corpus Fund for future development. And formation of IQAC, that I have already discussed. One IQAC team has to be formed, and they will provide the report. Actually, it is quite like the annual report of the university, and promotion of quality culture and quest for implementation of IQAC decisions. So what are the committee has decided whether these action been taken, what type of action being taken, one short term action, long term action, everything, and communication of quality assurance policy and outcome of all the stakeholders, timely submission of AQAR report online, and conduct the SWOC analysis of the institutes and communicate to stakeholders for feedback and follow up actions. So like in our school, all the departments have submitted the internal audit report with the WSC and what are the actions to be taken to Dean, and Dean will take care of this measurement. And last criteria is the innovation and best practice. Actually, there is no specific rules for getting the marks over there, but the thing is that it's open. It is quite like open book. If you come up with any types of best practices, you are going to get some extra marks, but that should not limit to 100. So if we have some deficiencies in some of the areas, we can get the marks from these areas that we get earlier, like the environment for energy conservation. What are the effective measurements we are taking? Rainwater harvesting we are doing or not? Energy audit we are doing it or not? Use of renewable energy we are doing, and efforts to decrease the carbon footprint or carbon neutrality, and e-waste management, how the waste management is being done, whether the students is being involved to come up with some great ideas for this innovations kind of thing, and how whether we are creating awareness among our local community also to come up with these types of best practices or not. Whether we have increased the tree plantation, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, whether we are participating and we are submitting reports and come up with some innovative projects or not. So everything is being taken care of. And proper maintenance of current, whether we are conducting the green audit, energy audit, providing energy saving systems including alternative source of energy, promoting innovative and inclusive practices, networking with industry, all stakeholders, and promotion of autonomy. Both this is not required for the creation of the brand images. And this is the procedure of getting the marks, how the marks is being evaluated. So I am not going to this procedure.